And welcome to another. I can't believe you get to see us beautiful faces again. Day after we just posted the top 10 movie, which is getting millions of views. I am Darth Easy.
And I'm Randy Cage.
And today this is the first time we're actually doing a video format for Top 10 TV in a very long time. We have been doing it on the Easy Cage show, but I was like, well, let's just do it. Let's just do it together. I don't know when we were going to be able to do it on the Easy Cage show. I was like, well, let's go ahead and do it. That way we get it out of the way. And it might take a while to upload, but hey, it'll be out eventually. So, TV, very interesting year for television. So, that's the only intro I have. So, Randy, you start off this time since I started
All right,
first
I'll start
class.
off. So, over the past few years, I used to watch a lot of like network TV, and I still do watch reality TV and stuff. But over the past few years, I've kind of weaned out all of my network TV shows. The last remaining sole survivor was Superstore, and it's my first honorable mention. This was the final season of Superstore this year, and it went out with kind of a putter, as most sitcoms do. I wouldn't say it's one of the worst endings ever, but it is such a great show. It's The Office in like a Costco or a Sam's Club. That's what I think I've mentioned this in our TVs before. I enjoyed it. I loved the characters. The main girl character who ends up becoming the store manager or whatever, she ended up leaving the show. And so that's kind of how, and then this last season, she's not even on the show, so except for the end and the beginning. So that makes sense of why they killed the show, because she was kind of the main part. But it's my last remaining one. I'm not watching anything. I'm not watching anything else on network TV other than like Survivor. So bye-bye, I guess. My other next honorable mention is Loki. I have a lot of the Marvel shows on here, but I will still say that as far as the Marvel shows, and I'll be interested to see what you think about different ones, but I don't think they've gotten to a movie Marvel level yet. Like, I went to go put these in my lists, into my movie list to try and throw them in there, and I just put them all on the end. So I guess take my Marvel rankings with a grain of salt, because I think they're good, but I don't think they're great, any of them. But Loki I did enjoy. I liked seeing what's the actor's name in
Tom
Loki?
Hiddleston.
Tom Hiddleston come back, play the character. He's one of the best villains of the MCU. He's kind of really not even a villain anymore, but yeah. And I loved Owen Wilson. He's one of my favorite actors, and he plays a really cool character in this. Yeah, and like with all the Marvel shows, I think it does a good job of building up all this stuff. This was the least unsatisfying finale of all the Marvel shows, I feel like, in Loki, but everyone, to me, I get built up in all this excitement, and then I just kind of, the last episode always lets me down, but I enjoyed it, and it's good. Of all the TV I watched this year, it obviously didn't make my top 10, but it's worth an honorable mention. And then my last honorable mention is a Netflix show called Sweet Tooth. It came out in the summer. I remember seeing the trailers and thinking, oh, this could be another Stranger Things, like kind of a hit that no one knows about. It's not quite that good, but it is really good. It's based on like a Canadian comic book series where it's kind of post-apocalyptic. There's a disease that gets out and kills off most of humanity, and it also genetically modifies every baby born after this, or a lot of them, start to develop animal features. Like there's some that get like feathers, and some kind of like mutants in the X-Men type thing. But it mainly follows this one boy who has antlers, and he's kind of left in the woods by his father, and there's all this other stuff going on. There's like these gangs, and it's just a really cool show based on a comic book I had no clue about, and it's got a lot of heart. And it's one of those shows that builds. Like, at first, I wasn't super into it, but once you get to the end, I was like, all right, I'm ready for another season. And we are getting another season, so that was another good thing. But those are my honorable mentions.
Okay, gotta watch Superstore. But I thought Brooklyn Nine-Nine had a really good ending this year.
Yeah, see, I don't think I finished it yet.
Oh.
Yeah, I haven't. I need to do that.
Yeah, I thought the ending was pretty good. It kind of brought the whole show in full circle. So I actually, for sitcom endings go, I thought Brooklyn Nine-Nine had a pretty good ending.
Maybe I need to finish that soon, because maybe that would have made my list. I don't know, because Brooklyn Nine-Nine is a good sitcom that I forgot about.
Sweet Tooth, I just saw the pictures of it. I was like, yeah, I'm good. So
it's pretty good. I think you would like Sweet Tooth. It's fantasy and
yeah. So, all right, my honorable mentions. I have Diary of a Future President. This show, it's the second season of the show. I really like the show. It's about this. It has like a Michelle. I think it's not Michelle Rodriguez, but Michelle. I forget what her name is, but she's president in the future. And in this season, they actually bring her into the season, and she's kind of her like imaginary friend that she kind of talks to, and she's trying to go through middle school and all this different stuff. And you have her brother who is trying to figure out who he is. It's a good family show. If you're into a good family show, Diary of Future President, it's a very good show, and it was hard keeping this off the list. My second honorable mention is Dexter New Blood. 10 years after the horrible ending of Dexter, and set in I believe this is set in like upstate New York, and basically Dexter, he swore off killing. His son re-enters the picture. The only reason this is an honorable mention is because I don't know how the season ends yet. We're still 2 episodes away from the finale, or we only have 2 episodes left of the season. So I'm keeping it as an honorable mention in case it craps out like Dexter seasons had been the last few years. So I'm keeping it, or that way I don't say like, well then why not put that in the top 10? So I'm being safe and putting it as an honorable mention. But it probably would have been number 10 on this list if the ending had came out before. My final honorable mention is My Hero Academia. Love this show. It's the really only anime, this and Attack on Titan. And Attack on Titan had no shot beyond this top 10. And I really enjoyed the season. I like the first half of the season goes with Deku as he finds out he has more than just the all-for-one power. He has his other quirks that were passed on to him, like this power called I forget what the power is, but it's like a black whip. He can activate whips and all this different kind of stuff, so it's kind of cool. And then the second half of the season goes into the League of Villains as they evolve from the League of Villains, and brings in all these different kind of characters like anti-heroes and different kind of stuff. And Hulk is such a cool hero. Love this show. I can't wait for it to come back for season, I believe 6. I don't think there's too many seasons left, but really love the season.
I was going to ask how many seasons we were into that show. I have not seen any of these, so I have no comment. I tried Hero Academia, couldn't get into it. Lost the Anime Punk name because of it, I think. All right, cool. My number 10 is The Morning Show, Season 2 of The Morning Show. I really like this show. It was kind of my favorite Apple Plus show until another show I finally got around to watching, because it's got Jennifer Aniston and Reese Witherspoon. They're great in it. But even like the side characters and everything, and it's a behind the scenes look at a kind of like a morning show, kind of like the Today Show type thing is what they're going for. The first season tackled the Me Too movement. This season tackles a whole bunch of different things. Still in the Me Too movement stuff going on. You've got COVID going on in the background or starting up. There's a whole bunch of stuff in there, but it's still good. I like all the different characters. I like the writing of the show, and I like the 2 stars. I like Reese Witherspoon's character a lot more than I like Jennifer Aniston's character, but that's probably because you're probably not supposed to like Jennifer Aniston's character. She's a character you kind of love to hate, probably, is the kind of thing they're going for, but I enjoy it. Number 9, it does get a little heavy, though, at times, I will say. The morning show is a little dark.
All right, Marty.
Number 9, I'm going with another Marvel show, WandaVision. This one was my favorite of the Marvel shows until Hawkeye came out. This one, I think, had the best premise, and it was the first one, but like I liked the Scarlet Witch character, what she goes through in this show, and you know, she's got all kinds of stuff going up, like especially towards the end. She's in like postpartum depression stages at the end of this movie, but you know, she loses vision, and she's having a hard time. She creates this like fake world. She basically takes over the whole town. It's really good. It's like I said with all the Marvel shows, the last episode is really a letdown. There's a lot of things that happened in that where you're like, ugh. But the show overall, I think, is really good, and it made me like the Scarlet Witch character a lot because I wasn't a huge fan, and this is supposedly one of the most powerful Marvel characters, and I just wasn't super into it, or I wasn't super into her until this show, and I liked all the backstory we got on her and stuff. Good show. I enjoyed it. My number 8 is The Bad Batch. This is the first season. This is probably one of my more surprising shows because I was not interested in this show at all. In Clone Wars season, what was it, 7 or 8? Or
7.
7, yeah. Gosh, I didn't like the Bad Batch. I only liked the least, more than I didn't like the Bad Batch, was the whole Ahsoka mechanic story with the sisters. So I was not looking forward to this, and by the end of this, I was hooked. I want to see more. I liked all the characters. I still don't like the little Australian girl very much, Omega. But other than that, I kind of fell in love with the Bad Batch as we go through here. There's lots of cool stories. It's Dave Filoni doing his Dave Filoni magic again, and you know, I wouldn't be surprised if some of these characters and stuff show up in Boba Fett. I halfway am thinking that we're going to get an Omega unless she doesn't survive the Bad Batch. I don't know. It's going to be crazy, but I'm definitely, this will be one of my most anticipated shows this year, which is crazy because it went from I could care less, I didn't even know if I was going to watch it, to I love it. So my number 7 is my last Marvel show on this list, which is Hawkeye. I was probably most excited about this one, and for me, it's still my favorite, mainly because Hailee Steinfeld is great, and I think she is going to be the perfect addition to the MCU. I hope we get her in more stuff. But then I really did like Hawkeye is like kind of the one that everybody is like is a joke of the Avengers. But you get a beat down, broken Hawkeye in this. You know, he's still suffering from the loss of Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow character. He's got guilt from that. He's trying to cover up his stuff with what's his stupid character, this Ronin character. And then you have this fun combination where their chemistry gets better with him and Hailee Steinfeld. Then I don't even mention we're throwing in like Kingpin and shit in this show. It was really cool. Once again, the finale kind of let me down again, which all these shows have done, but it had enough in there where I was really cool. I think it's episode 2 or 3 where you have this crazy, like it's the best episode, I think, where you have this insane action scene, this one-shot car chase thing going on, and you really 2, 3. But yeah, I really liked Hawkeye. And then my number 6 is You. This is season 3 of You, Y-O-U. I know sometimes people get confused when you're like, You are the season, but this is a great show. I don't think you've watched it yet. Every time I recommend this to somebody starts to watch it, they're like, oh my god, it is really good. You're following around this kind of stalker guy, and they do a really good job. Probably like your Dexter show, I think, is the same thing, or
You is more like Dexter, since Dexter came out first.
Yeah, probably. Where he's like a stalker, but he is the most, like, you are really like the villain of this show, because he's the villain of the show. But they make these other characters who are just normal people who seem so awful that you're like, whatever he wants, I want. And it's just really good. Each season they've gone with something. I was very concerned about this season because of what happens in season 2. You know, they get married and they have a kid, and you're like, how are they going to do this? And somehow they top it every time. It's really cool. I know some people didn't like the end of this season because they were like, now what are we going to do? But it's so good every time, and I binge this show when it comes out immediately. It's a really fun show. When you're talking about it's just a stalker. That's all it is. There's murder, there's sex, there's I don't know. It's good stuff. That's my 10 through 6.
All right, you haven't seen, it's on my Netflix watch list. I'll watch it maybe one day, maybe not. WandaVision, they crapped out the last episode. I think the Quicksilver literally just flipped off the audience.
Yeah.
And I
don't disagree.
And I didn't like the fight, the CGI fight in the end. I just think they could have gone a better direction. And Morning Show, I disagree with you. I don't like Reese Witherspoon's character either.
Oh.
For me, what makes the Morning Show, it's the side characters, the producers of the show. I think Jennifer Aniston's producer is one of the best parts of the show. I think the CEO character is great. I mean, he's the reason I watch the show. And it's crazy that's that little kid from Almost Famous. That still blows my mind. So that's what I like about the Morning Show. I don't really like when Jennifer Aniston's or Reese Witherspoon are the character. I like the people around them. Alright, my number 10 is Doogie Kamehameha MD. This is a remake of Doogie Howser, and this is a show where you have this little girl. She's like 16. She just turned 16 years old. She's a doctor. She's really smart, and she's just dealing with all this family stuff where she's just smarter. She's trying to have a social life, trying to be a 16-year-old, but while she's also a doctor, and she has a little trouble fitting in because she's just so much smarter than everyone around her. I thought the show had a really good relationship. I thought the boyfriend and the girl they did a really good job. I really like the family dynamic in the show. The dad is awesome. Like, he's hilarious. I like the stuff with the brothers too. And so Doogie Kamehameha is a show, if you're into a family show on Disney Plus, I think you should check it out.
I have one question about this show. Does Neil Patrick Harris make a cameo?
No.
At all? No? Oh, man. One day. They gotta do it.
Yeah, my number 9 is Hawkeye. Hawkeye was a show, I thought I wasn't like you. We were like, oh, first show ever, first two episodes. And I was like, I don't know about that. And as the show went along, though, I thought the show got better and better. And I really liked Haley Steinfeld in the show. I'm a big fan of Haley Steinfeld. It's not really a shocker that she's good in the show. I really like her and Jeremy Renner's dynamic. And then to see the introduction of characters like Echo, who we'll see a Disney Plus series either this year or next year. But to bring in Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin and back into officially into the MCU, all the stuff that happened before isn't probably canon. But I think the inspirations of what they use for acting is what makes that character, what they use as backdrop for those characters. And Kingpin, he's like, you betrayed me, Wesley, and I am going to kill you, Hawkeye. I think Vincent D'Onofrio is one of those guys who is if we do like top 10 actor to characters, I think Vincent D'Onofrio is it's like Robert Downey Jr. Iron Man to Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. I view Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin. And then he also had a more superhero or super villain where he's just so much more powerful and dynamic in this show. So I love Vincent D'Onofrio, and I really like the show, and I think this is a good final chapter for Jeremy Renner's Hawkeye to pass the torch on to the next generation of Hawkeye. So I'm good if we never see Hawkeye again. Jeremy Renner's Hawkeye again, and I think he's may come back for like Secret Wars or something. All right, my number 8. I'm going with Big Shot. This is the John Stamos girls basketball show. This is a show I was like, I don't know if I should check this out, but I think I was bored one night. I started watching it, and the show got me teary-eyed, and I was like, man, this hit you at all the good points. John Stamos, he was a basketball coach. He coached Wisconsin to like 2 or 3 national championships. He throws a chair at a ref and gets kicked out, so he has to try to make a name for himself, try to redeem himself by coaching girls basketball, but the girls touch him, and the family dynamic with him and his daughter is really good in the show. And I'm always a sucker for good sports stuff. I mean, I really like Big Shot. It was better than what you think it would be. My number 7 is Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I love this show. And maybe the reason I enjoyed this show more than Randy Cage over here is because I watched the first episode, didn't watch the rest of it until it was over. and watched it as one big movie, and it was action packed. I thought that a lot of the reason I liked it, it had really reminiscence to Captain America's Winter Soldier, which is one of my favorite Marvel movies, and I really liked the message of should there be a black Captain America. Steve Rogers didn't really think of that because white guys don't really think of stuff like that, and Falcon gives the mantle up just because he doesn't think the world's ready for that. But then like the Captain America Falcon suit was awesome. The action scenes were great. Seeing Bucky trying to pay for his past sins and trying to make it up to people that he did wrong in the past was a great story. And also the turn of Agent Carter into the bad guy. And I'm looking forward to see whatever they do in the Captain America future and in the MCU. So I really enjoyed this show. And my number 6 is Star Wars: The Bad Batch. I really, really enjoyed this show. I really enjoyed those 4 episodes from the Clone Wars, so I was very interested to see. I like it. The first episode is Revenge of the Sith. And I like seeing the one clone turn into the Empire, and he kind of had a choice at the end of the show. And also, I really liked what they did with the Omega character. I like seeing characters pop in from the Clone Wars. From Clone Wars episodes, like seeing Rex come back. I'm assuming he'll have a bigger role in season 2. And also, I really, really enjoyed that last 2 episodes. The first part was better than the second part, but when you see Kamino, and it's like they showed no sound right before it gets destroyed by the Empire, is like, holy crap, what the hell. I love this show. It was definitely worthy of my top 10. So yeah, that's why it's number 6, and that's my 10 through 6.
I really want to watch that Big Shot. The more you talk about it, I'm like, man, that seems like a show I would really like. And yeah, well, I don't know. We've talked about Winter Soldier. I think I'm just not a fan of it. But
Well, Doogie Kamehameha, you might like that.
maybe I never seen Doogie Howser.
Neither I.
That's why I kind of was like, well, if Neil Patrick Harris was in there, but it sounds like it's nothing to do with him. So just a reboot of the show. But yeah, maybe. I don't know. But Big Shot sounds good. Doogie Howser, I don't know. Maybe.
Doogie Kamehameha.
Doogie Kamala, yeah. Sorry. Kamala. Okay. My number 5 is... God, I have horrible handwriting. It is Cobra Kai season 4? 4. Yeah, season 4. I was late to this show. I think I watched it all this year. Or maybe at the beginning of... Or the end of last year, maybe?
Middle.
I can't remember, but... you kept on me every year. It was like, gosh, watch this. First, it was a YouTube show, so I was like using that as an excuse. I was like, I don't know, watch no YouTube show. But yeah, it's really good. I love the show. You were right. It's great. It's basically like Star Wars, but with freaking karate. Which I like the remake with that Will Smith did. I have seen. I don't think I've seen because. All these different movies. I know I've seen the original Karate Kid, but I don't think I've seen the sequels and things, because a lot of times when they're bringing these characters back, I'm like, who is this? But they do a really good job of showing you flashbacks from the movies and things, so you know what's going on. And it's just really cool. Does it get a little cheesy at times and have like some like really goofy story beats where you're like, the whole conflict of half the episodes could be resolved if 2 people would just talk to each other for a second? Yes, but it's so good the way they do it. And I will say, even this season, I was, at the beginning, I was like, oh, we're back into our cheesy high school drama. But man, every time, every season, you get to the end of it, and it pays off in a big way every time. And I just love the characters. I love the main guy who was running Cobra Kai. I can't think.
John Kreese?
Yes.
Mark
No, not John Kreese.
Terry Silver?
No.
John Lawrence?
Yes.
Ralph Macchio?
I love him. I think
Johnny Lawrence?
yeah, Johnny Lawrence.
Yeah, Johnny Lawrence.
Yeah, he's great in the show. He's probably my favorite character in the whole show. He's so good. And but because I think LaRusso, the Karate Kid himself, I think he's so lame in the show. He is the lamest character. Every once in a while, he'll have like a small, awesome moment, and then you're like, nope, he's back to lame again. But other than that, I love the show. I love everything about it. It's so fun. I binged this whole. I mean, it's 10 episodes. So what's it, like 3 hours of a movie?
I watched it all yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, I just watched the whole thing in 5 minutes, and that's probably what I'll do for every season from here on out. And I could go for another 4 seasons of this show, to be honest with you, because it's good. Every time I'm like, oh, are we gonna do the same thing again? And I don't care. It's so fun to watch. But yeah, that's my number 5. My number 4 is, I talked a little too much about Cobra Kai. My number 4 is Witcher Season 2. This show had tons of hype because it was supposed to come out probably last year. We had some delays and stuff. And the first season was such a surprise hit for me. I don't play the games. I never have played it. I don't know anything about The Witcher. And this is what I always say is this is Netflix's Game of Thrones. It's a darker, more... I don't know, like a more brutal version of Game of Thrones, I guess, but it's really cool. I love following, what's the main actor's name in this?
Henry Cavill.
Henry Cavill, yeah, he's great in the movie. I like the Bard. I love Yennefer. She's my favorite character. And in this season, I thought, man, I don't like the way they're going with her character, but I enjoyed it. And I really... am interested in more. I want to see spin-offs. I love the little movie we got beforehand. I'm in the Witcher storyline right now, and I'm loving it. I'm loving that. I think this was a better season because they took away the weird time jump things they were doing in the first season, and also I think it has better production value. I mean, the fights are cooler. Everything looks better than the first season because Netflix knows they have a hit now, so they're spending the money. And I'm interested to see where they go next with it. My number 3 is Star Wars Visions. This is like the Animatrix, but with Star Wars. It's fucking amazing. I love this thing. I can't believe people didn't like it. It's so freaking good. It's just different little Star Wars stories with different animation studios. And they're so good. Even like the worst one is still good. I binged this all in one night too when it came out, and I was just like, I maybe for one might want Disney Plus to do all their shows like this because I hate waiting week to week on some of these shows. But then also it made me want more of this, and I hope we get a season 2. I don't know if we ever will, but or if we even got like some spin-offs and stuff from this stuff, that would be cool, but I don't think that'll ever happen either. But it's really cool, the different characters, the different animation styles, the music. It's all badass. If you like Star Wars, and especially if you like Star Wars and anime, there's no way you're not going to love this show. And then my number 2, probably one of the best shows, it is one of the best shows on TV, Ted Lasso Season 2. It's amazing. It's got like the feels, you're following this. It's another one of them shows where you wouldn't think I'd be into it because you're following soccer, which I don't care about, but
football,
yeah. And you got this goofy college coach coming in, and this season they focus on trying to get back out of the I always call it the D League or whatever, but they call it like the.
They've been regulated. They're trying to get back to the Premier League.
Yeah, trying to get back in the Premier League. Every character in the show is good. I mean, Ted Lasso's great on his own, but I mean, every single side character they introduce is amazing. And it's just a great show. It's got a ton of heart, and I'm sure he's going to talk it up like crazy. But yeah, that's my 5 through 2.
I don't have anything to say about any of your ones because I've already talked about, I'm getting ready to talk about them. My number 5 is Star Wars Visions. I love the show. This show was absolutely incredible. I love some episodes were weaker than some of them, but some of these episodes, like the Sixth Jedi was an awesome episode. The episode where we're dealing with a lot of the dark side of the Force and all these different stuff. And I thought the show was absolutely incredible. It was enjoyable to watch. I love seeing anime and seeing it. Maybe that's why people didn't like the show, is because people don't like anime. And you have to be a real big nerd to watch anime. And I love and it's just cool. It's because Star Wars was inspired by Akira Kurosawa's original films, The Hidden Fortress, The Seven Samurai. So it's cool that the thing that originally inspired Star Wars is going back home, back to the original inspiration. And that's what I loved about the show was it went back to that Akira Kurosawa that's been inspiring the Boba Fett show to Mandalorian, and I love it.
I gotta have a feeling that George Lucas loved this.
I bet he did. I'm sure a lot of people love this.
Yeah.
My number 4, it's a shame this isn't in your top 10. You say it's mediocre TV, and that is Loki. This show is Doctor Who better than the Doctor Who I have been getting. And the stuff with time travel or the multiverse and all this stuff. And seeing Owen Wilson as M, who just wants a jet ski. Give him his jet ski. I mean, come on. And also the villain of the show, the character of the forget what that girl's name is, who's kind of the judge who judges people, who basically kills them and sends them to purgatory. What the world was is. Such a cool character, Gubu Raw, something like that. She has a hard name to say. She was also a Doctor Who. Also, I really like the girl that played Sylvie, who's in rumors to be the next Doctor Who, which I'd be okay with that. But overall, I love the show. I love where the direction they went with it. Because, I didn't know really what to expect with this show. I thought Tom Hiddleston was great in the show. The musical score of the show was incredible, was incredibly great as well. And I love how it ends. I'm not like him. I thought the ending was great and how it kind of sets up this multiverse of madness where we see like with Spider-Man, with WandaVision, and what we're probably all gonna hit in Doctor Strange too. I think this show does such a good job, and it even sets up like Kang the Conqueror. I mean, that was so unexpected. At least from my perspective, and I was like, oh, that's really cool. I love this show, and that's why it was so high on my list. My number 3 is a show that blew me away, and that was The Witcher. Because first season, I think it's okay. Season 2, I think I've told you this, and we'll say it when we talk about being full season in a few weeks on the EZK show, is that I think season 2 found out what kind of show The Witcher is. And I think the show it breaks up Ciri's character, because Ciri, the first season, that was the one of the biggest weaknesses of the first season, but they turned that weakness into a strength automatically. I think season 2 does such a good job of setting that character up as kind of the Anakin Skywalker of the show, the chosen one, the one that can either destroy the world or bring the world into a new era. And then the ending where you have all these different characters. Yennefer, whenever she cuts her wrist, paying tribute back to whenever she first gained her powers, of how she didn't want to live and she was cutting her wrist. I thought that was such a good analogy from the beginning of when the show started. And I love how she was in such a dark place at the beginning of the show, setting up the Wild Hunt, which is the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse kind of storyline for the future. And Geralt didn't have a lot to do this season, let's be honest with himself, but he was cool. He was a cool character in the show. And the action scene was absolutely incredible. I love where it sets up all these different countries, all these nations, all against war against each other, all taking place in Cyrodiil, which I'm surprised I remembered that. So, Witcher Season 2 was absolutely incredible. I can't wait for Season 3, which is something that I wasn't expecting to say with after seeing the first season. My number 2 is Cobra Kai Season 4. I mean, this show, and Season 3, because Season 3 came out on New Year's, and then Season 4 came out, because I had this spot 2 slots higher before Season 4 came out, but I had to bump it up. And I think this show was I think it's as good as the show has been since the first season. I thought it was great seeing the villain of Terry Silver come in as really the true bad guy, because I thought this season did a really good job of humanizing John Kreese. I really like what they did with his character, where you're like, it's just kind of his point of view, it's just how he is, and I really liked how they did. I love the dynamic between Johnny and Danny, or Daniel LaRusso. And I mean, I'm not like you. I mean, because I think what you don't like about Daniel LaRusso is you don't like watching Superman. You don't like watching a Boy Scout. And I thought there were some episodes of the season where he has that Cobra Kai come out of him, and where his son Anthony, and he's like, silence, and breaks his iPad, and it's Oh, it's awesome. And then I just think the show is just does such a good job. And in that last episode where you see the daughter, I always forget what the character's name is, where she's using both Cobra Kai or Eagle Fang and Miyagi Do and balancing it out, using one style and then mixing it together. And I was like, this is the Star Wars I haven't gotten yet. It's the Grey Jedi using both the light side of the Force and the dark side of the Force at the same time. And it sets up perfectly for season 5. And I can't wait to see what they do next with Cobra Kai. That's my 5 through 2.
Yeah, Cobra Kai. It's the fresh is in our minds because we just watched it yesterday, but it's such a good show. But yeah, your stuff's good. I wasn't as high on Loki as you, but I had it in my honorable mentions. It was a good show. My number 1, a show you have, I guess, not finished because it would be on your list if you had. Arcane, man. This show was effing incredible. I had no idea. I don't play League of Legends, and this is a League of Legends show, I guess. And so I didn't really know anything about it when it came out. I didn't hear anybody talking about it. My brother is the one who mentions it to me. He says, "Hey, watch this show. It's really good. You're gonna like it." It's great. It's so good. It starts off. You've got these 2 classes of citizens. There's this underworld and this other city. There's magic has kind of been forgotten. And it's got like political things, it's got family stuff, it's got magic, it's just a really cool show. You have League of Legends characters in here, but as far as I can tell, it really doesn't have anything to do with the game. It's just their lore, background lore and stuff. There's a couple episodes, they do a big time jump in episode 3 or 4. And once you get to there, you get really hooked on the show because just so much stuff happens. It kind of goes Game of Thrones where they're like killing off characters. You're like, oh my god, which makes you immediately thinking that anybody could die at any moment. The finale's great. There's this episode, I think it's episode 7 or 6, where there's this amazing bridge scene. And I mean, the animation, the music, it is insanely good. It's such a good show, and I was like so ready for season 2 and when I finished this, and it's just great for something I had didn't even know about to grab me like that. It's pretty crazy. You need to finish it and get on board.
I watched 30 minutes of the first episode.
Okay.
I liked it, so I just
yeah.
I'm a movie reviewer first, and I have to catch up on movies before I do TV.
I understand.
So
I will say, there's no way that you finish this show and it wouldn't be in your top 10. There's no way.
Okay.
Because I've yet to find somebody who doesn't love the show.
Okay, so my number 1, it's once again, Rainy Cage over here, that I am right. And that is Ted Lasso. Because this is a show you had no interest in watching. And I told you, watch it. Watch it. And guess what? You watched it. And it's number 2 on his list. Yeah. I loved season 2. I thought it was absolutely incredible. I think it was probably better than the first season. Really like where the characters go. I like the storylines they set up in the first season. Where, with Ted, who has this kind of he has these panic attacks, and as he grows as a character. I love what they did with Nate character, Nate the Great, who turns into a bad guy as his hair turns white, and it's like watching the transformation of Darth Vader, but better. And also characters like Roy Kent is just such an awesome character. Seeing where characters go in this season, and the storylines just make sense. They just absolutely, it's smart story writing. And that's what makes this show so great. The comedy is absolutely incredible. Like the Christmas episode was so good. Like I wanted to watch it again on Christmas, around Christmas time. I didn't, but I wanted to. And then also the storyline with Jamie Tarr, who was an asso the first season, and they turned him into a likable character and a good guy at the end of the show. And like that moment where Roy Kent wanted to punch him in the face because he told Keeley he still had feelings for her, and he doesn't do it because he was upfront about it, and it just shows how smart and well written this show is. And I wish a lot of TV was like this show. and Apple TV is the first Apple TV show I've watched, and really hit it out of the park. More show, but Ted Lasso, incredible. I don't know how many more seasons because I think they said they really only have one more season in mind, and I'm like, that's great. Let's do the show, tell your story, end it on a good note. And if they want to do more seasons, if like maybe Ted goes off to America with a new cast, sure, we can check that out. So overall, that's TV of 2021.
Good stuff.
Alright guys, that ends another top 10 of me and Randy Cage. Make sure you check us out every week on the Easy K Show on Sundays, so you can check it out there. We'll have all kinds of topics to talk about. A lot of award stuff to talk about. We're bringing back the Easy Cage Awards. Woo! And guys, make sure you check out Randy Cage at his Letterboxd. He's posting movie reviews sometimes. And guys, check out my main YouTube channel. I'll have a lot of videos coming out between now until like the end of January, because I haven't been able to post them and all that kind of stuff. And edit them. It's going to be a nightmare to edit, but that's what I'm here for. So guys, until next time, all too easy.